It is a busy time for the Oklahoma Attorney General Mike Hunter. There are a number of issues that he is facing and dealing with in his office. So we decided, hey, let's bring him in. Let's talk about all these things. We appreciate you coming here.
Sure,
and
Maggie.
updating us on all that you are doing.
Good.
Let's first talk about the Opioid Commission and what's going on with that right now.
Well, we completed, I guess, the first phase of our work.
Okay.
We recommended 31 things the state needs to do to give itself the tools it needs to deal with the epidemic. 7 of those recommendations required legislation. We're going to move to e-prescribing in the state. Paper prescriptions are too easy to counterfeit. We're going to have pill limits for opioids, continuing education for doctors. We discovered that fentanyl was not criminalized in the state, possession of fentanyl.
Right.
That law passed. We're going to have more control over pills that come into the state, requirements for filing with the Oklahoma Bureau of Narcotics and Dangerous Drugs. And then we've got a Good Samaritan law. If someone is overdosing, you're going to be held harmless if you contact an emergency service to get that person help.
I.e. the person that's making the phone call?
Yes.
What about the person that's having the issue?
Well, the Good Samaritan law is expansive enough to make sure that we deal with the health crisis. Yeah.
What do you do with the crackdown on opioids? Is there any concern then about other drugs that people might have to turn to, let's say a street drug like heroin, because they can't get the opioids that they become addicted to? How do you combat that?
Well, there's going to be a responsibility that law enforcement undertakes when that phenomenon occurs. And I just want to report to you that the interaction that we're having in my office with federal authorities, the U.S. Attorney's Office, the FBI, the DEA, has really been collaborative and cooperative. So people need to know that their tax dollars, federal and state, are being well spent on the law enforcement front. And that's going to be part of our responsibilities to deal with the increase in street use. So we're on it.
Right, right. I know it is an ongoing issue, and we've got to keep pushing ahead, especially here in Oklahoma and across our country.
Absolutely.
Ronnie asked this in regards to this. He said, please ask the Attorney General why people who depend on pain meds, like his 37-year-old disabled daughter, are being penalized by the pain management doctors. He was describing a situation where his daughter's dosage has just been cut and cut as his situation is what he's experiencing. So here's somebody that's needing this for a long-term type of situation. How do you weigh that out with doctors and with what they have to face with new regulation versus someone who's in a chronic pain situation?
Well, the opioid crisis is something that we had to address decisively. When 1,000 Oklahomans are dying every year from overdoses, when we're having in excess of 800 babies born substance impacted, we had to be aggressive about this. So we're hopeful that doctors can work through this with regard to treating their patients with this more limited dosage. But the Center for Disease Control has been real clear that opioids are not appropriate for chronic pain. Okay. And there's even a recent study which concluded over time that there's really no benefit between opioids, aspirin and Advil, if you will. So we're hopeful that doctors can work through this. There are going to be some rough edges, we understand that.
Does that mean that no one should really be on them long term, or are there certain cases, not talking hospice here or something, but a certain situation where someone should be on opioids long term?
Well, again, the CDC research indicates that a week supply is appropriate to avoid addiction. And the longer somebody's on an opioid, the more likely they are to become an addict. Okay. So again, these are tough decisions we've had to make, but losing 1,000 Oklahomans a year is unacceptable.
As we switch gears here now and talk about the tax referendum, this is something that a lot of Oklahomans are talking about. Yeah. We had legislation passed in the springtime, and now there is a group that's come out to say that in the fall they hope to get on the ballot a referendum so that voters would then be able to decide if they wanted their taxes raised as it comes to funding teacher pay raises. What does your office say about this? Yeah,
the Supreme Court asked our office to provide our legal opinion on the challenges to the petition effort. We look very carefully at the Constitution. We look very carefully at Oklahoma law. And it's clear to us that the tradition, the legal tradition in this state, is to honor the ability of citizens through the petition process to voice their decision-making, if you will, through an election. So there were some problems with the petition process, but in our judgment they were technical, and Oklahoma law is really clear. You shouldn't overturn or proscribe a petition process initiated by the people just because of technical problems. So at the end of the day, people ought to be able to vote on this, yes or no, and that was the opinion we provided to the Supreme Court.
Do we know if it will be on the ballot in November, or we don't know yet?
I think it's probable,
Okay.
Given the time frames and given the effort. Again, our view is not to be for it or against it.
Right.
Our view is to allow the citizens to vote on it.
Let's talk about this case. Speaking of another Supreme Court case, the Jack Phillips case. This was the Colorado case where a gentleman said that he did not want to provide a wedding cake for a gay couple. And your office actually wrote an opinion about this, submitted it to the Supreme Court. Can you talk to us about that?
So there's a tension that exists here between this new bundle of rights that's been created in connection with same-sex marriages and religious freedom. And this was a case in which two individuals went to a baker and they said they wanted a cake for their wedding, a same-sex wedding. The baker, very religious, deep-seated beliefs that were central to his faith, and he declined to make the cake. So Colorado, through an anti-discrimination law that they have there, penalized the baker. So the Supreme Court reviewed this case. We filed an amicus brief in support of the baker and the free exercise of his religious beliefs. Supreme Court ruled 7-2 that in this particular case, his First Amendment rights to that protected the practice of his religion were paramount in this particular issue. So that was the Supreme Court's decision. Again, our brief supported it, and it's important as any right in the Bill of Rights, that is the free exercise of your religious beliefs.
And how does this translate to Oklahoma down the road, potentially?
Well, it's the law of the land. It applies to all 50 states,
Right.
Territories, and protectorates. So it's, again, it's a decision by the Supreme Court that the First Amendment and the freedom of expression with respect to your religious beliefs continue to be very important as a right of the citizens of this country.
I want to get to this question from Marco, who says, why is our state #1 in incarceration and our schools and education ranked 47th? Do you feel that there might be a correlation between the two? And do you support reform to nonviolent sentencing, which is, in fact, the reason we are #1? What do we do about our prison situation here? We just saw a statistic come out the other day that we are #1 in the world for incarcerating people.
Well, criminal justice reforms have been underway for the last couple of years. It's going to take some time for the impact of that to be felt in the corrections process, but the state's got to invest in treatment and rehabilitation and diversion programs, and that's a challenge given our budget problems. Drug court works, and so quickly getting people who are guilty and are being punished for possession crimes into rehabilitation programs is real important so that they aren't recidivists. But I'm as concerned as anybody about the prison population. But again, I think patience here is appropriate. There have been numerous criminal justice reforms that have lessened the punishment for nonviolent crimes. That just needs to work through the system. So I think you're going to see relief in coming years.
And do you think that our laws need to be changed at all, though? Are there some crimes where people, it's just too strict of a sentence? Maybe, I don't know, a misdemeanor drug crime that's somehow whatever. Is that a problem? Do some of our laws, are they too harsh? And that's why we're having a larger prison population?
Maggie, again, my attitude about this is there have been appropriate lines drawn in the last several years so that we've moved nonviolent crimes into a punishment regime that's more proportional.
Right.
But we have to remember that public safety is important.
Right.
And the line between violent and nonviolent crimes, I think, has been drawn accurately the last several years. It's going to just take some time for the system to absorb those changes in policy.
Okay. Well, we are out of time. I'm getting the wrap cue. But I did want to mention real quick that recently you were helping a motorist out, and we heard about that.
Well, I mean, I would expect that any citizen would do what I did. A lady's vehicle was stalled in the center lane. I pulled up behind her. She was out of gas. Turned my flashers on. We had a policeman there in a matter of minutes. The challenge was helping the policeman push the car about 75 yards to where we could get it out of traffic.
Yeah,
but
you don't always see the Attorney General
Well,
pushing cars down the road.
I think anybody would have done the same thing.
Well, we enjoyed the story,
Thanks.
and we appreciate you taking
All right.
the time and covering these issues with us.
Thanks, Maggie.
Come back. We know that you will.
Will
Thank
do.
you.
Thank
All right.
you.